the purpose of this webinar is to give you an insight of the policing program here at Middlesex, so you can understand what that entails, and why it's such an awesome program that you should be considering, and why you should be working, looking to do your degree here at Middlesex, which I would certainly recommend for a number of reasons. But in terms of the program itself, for policing, criminology policing, we've moved away from the old degree, which was the criminology policing degree, and we've changed it to criminology policing and investigations. And we've done that for a number of reasons. Now, policing is quite a wide sort of, it captures a very wide range of modules within the industry. It's not just about the Metropolitan Police or any sort of policing force. You've got obviously the NCA, you've got other elements of the criminal justice system, you've got ombudsmanship, you've got, different, security jobs, etc., that this degree will be useful for, because policing has moved towards something called the Policing Education Qualifications Framework, or the PQF. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah.
No? Okay, so the PQF is important that you understand that all police officers will need to have a degree to become a police officer. If that's something you're interested in, are you guys interested in becoming police officers, or you want to have your options a bit wider than just the police?
It's kind of more join the police and then kind of see what happens after.
Okay, what about you, Travis?
Same for me. I want to join the police and
okay.
goes from there, hopefully a lifetime job.
Okay, right. Well, the way the police is working at the moment, you need to have a degree to become a police officer, and you can get that degree via a number of routes, right? So you've got, at the moment, they're running apprenticeships called the PCDA, or the Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship, which is delivered whilst you're an officer in your probation doing your police training. So this replaces the old way police officers were trained. And at the end of that training, you're then given a degree in professional policing. Okay. The second route would be for degree holders. It's called a DHEP, or Degree Holder Entry Program. And that is designed for people who already have a degree, and they join the police with that degree, and then you get a graduate diploma in policing, because of the fact that you already have a degree. You start at level 6, so you get a graduate diploma. So the DHEP is 2 years and the PCDA is 3 years, right? So that's how policing has changed in terms of how they train their officers, but all police officers will need to have a degree. Now, so that brings us back to what we're doing here at Middlesex. So our program now, this criminology, policing and investigations program, it's a broader program. It's a broader degree that encapsulates enforcement, the criminal justice system and the policing as an entity. It's a more holistic sort of delivery of that sort of industry. Now, I'm the program leader. I've got 11 years policing experience. I worked with the Met for 11 years, and my PhD also looked at the Metropolitan Police, particularly around diversity and inclusion, and how that affects the occupational culture of policing, or how that is influenced by the occupational culture of policing, etc. Because that's an important part of policing that affects public consent, which is how important that is in how we build and sustain effective relationships with the communities that we serve as officers. So on the program itself, you will be doing investigative modules. You will be doing serious and organized crime investigations modules. be doing modules.
I think you might be breaking up a bit, Andre. Sorry, I think your Wi-Fi. Can you guys hear him okay?
Yeah, I can't hear Andre.
Okay.
It's kind of cut out now.
Crackling.
Oh, we lost him. Sorry about that, guys. It's always an issue with the webinars, but hopefully he'll
That's
join
all right.
in a bit. Did you understand what he was talking about there? About how
Yeah,
the
he was just like
changes to the course-
talking about the modules you kind of go through and all that, like organized crime and
Yeah, exactly. So the biggest difference and what Andre was talking about was that the policing framework has changed quite a bit, so that there's these new entry points. So this course that we have now is more criminology focused than it is the direct entry kind of program that we had before, because of the way that police is restructured. So it's good because you'll be going, most likely if you go with this course, into that second option he said after this degree.
and it kind of gives you more knowledge as well.
Exactly. It probably, actually, what we've found with our partnerships is that it helps to advance you much quicker because you'll have this much broader knowledge. So if you're looking to have a long career, like you said, Travis, in policing, this is definitely a good option because it'll propel you much quicker and you'll have this kind of very specific academic understanding of investigations in policing, as well as an understanding of the actual industry. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense, yeah.
Yeah, Andre's much better at explaining it than I am, but
Okay.
Just so you guys know that the validated program is currently going under review because all these policing changes happen so quickly. So the current information on the website is outdated. We'll be updating that in the next few weeks, and you guys will get some emails and calls from us to just double check that you're comfortable with the changes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm. You're both offer holders, correct?
Pardon?
You both gotten offers, right? You're already applied to the program?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so obviously we know that it is a big change. So we want to make sure that you're as informed as possible of the changes and can make the decision that you want to make. But hopefully if we can get Andre back on, he'll be able to answer any of your guys' questions about those changes as well. Do you have any questions for myself or our colleague from Ambitions while we wait?
So I was just wondering, I've got one. About this coronavirus, is it going to be affecting our course about going into Middlesex or at the proper university, or would we be doing online lectures?
Perfect. Well, we have Andre back, but I'll kind of answer from an institutional level. Middlesex, we know our teaching is best placed on campus, so we'd like to get back on campus as quickly as possible, but obviously when it's safe to do so. So at the current moment, we're looking at blended learning, so a combination of both virtual classrooms and then physical classrooms for those aspects of teaching that can't happen online. This is all really dependent on what the government advises us. And we'll have more information on what policing specifically will look like in that kind of virtual space, hopefully in the next few weeks. But welcome back, Andre. Sorry about that.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Do you know what it is? I was going to have this meeting in my garden, so I had to actually swap my internet, my modem, because anyway, it's a long story.
No problem.
But yeah, sorry about that. I'm ever so sorry about that, guys.
That's right.
I think it should be fine. It should be fine now. Right. So how much did you hear of what I was saying previously?
I think you were talking about like the modules, and you kind of got up to like you were talking about organized crime.
Right. So the old module, I mean, the first year hasn't changed massively. I mean, the first year you're doing crime and controlling social context, explaining crime, researching the city, an introduction to criminal legal processes. Yeah, and you will do that in the first year. So that's kind of giving you a flavor of crime and control, elements of society, what sort of things we need to be taken into consideration. We're going to be looking at explaining crime,
Andre, sorry to interrupt. We're going straight into the third year.
Yeah, we're going to third year through.
Okay. Sorry. Right. So for the third year, you'll be doing. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. You'll be doing serious and organized crime modules, serious and organized crime investigations. That was the old homicide and serious crime investigations. That is a pretty popular module. Students tend to enjoy that. I'm also the module leader for that particular module, where we look at honor-based killings, murder, serious crimes, kidnappings, why these things happen. I even, because of my practical experience within policing itself, I even touch on things like interviewing skills, how you conduct interviews. We've done things like role plays where people have been given scenarios where you conduct an investigation. Then it gets to the stage where the suspect has been arrested and brought in, and then people would actually volunteer themselves and role play, going through an interview process as an interviewer, as an investigator, and one person role playing as a suspect. That's been incredibly successful, and people have really enjoyed that sort of thing. And it really gives you a flavor of what it's like being that sort of person in that role, what you need to consider, what sort of questions you need to ask, understanding open questions, rhetorical questions, closed questions, timelines, etc. So those are the things you'll be looking at. What's also different about this policing and investigations program? It's a new module called diversity and inclusion within policing, and no one else offers that module at the moment in terms of HEIs or higher education institutions. And it's really understanding how being diverse, one, as a police force or police service, the role that plays in the holistic delivery of the job itself. So understanding diversity in its deeper sense, ensuring you have a diverse workforce and understanding diverse and ethnic minority communities and how that links to things like public consent, etc. Another new course or program or module, on this program is the corruption module that looks at obviously corruption and historically what constitutes corruption and how that has evolved over the years. We also look at things like riots, etc., as part of diversity and inclusion. So these are ways that the module has evolved in tandem with the changes influenced by the PEQF and influenced by what students have asked for based on feedback in the past. So the course has now evolved into that. So this program now, Policing Investigations, if you do this course, I personally, from having been an experienced officer and being an experienced, academic, it's really beneficial to do this program because it gives you a lot more options. It's different to other programs that are restricted just around policing, but equally beneficial to policing. So for example, if you did a criminology policing investigations program, if you enrolled in that program, you're being equipped with the skills you need to become an officer, but you're also being equipped with the skills you need to perhaps be eligible for something like the NCA or, an ombudsman or something like that. In addition to that, if you wanted to join the police, you're also going to be a very attractive candidate for police to be recruited because you've got a police investigations degree. And then when you do your training will be 2 years as opposed to 3. And in addition to that, you'd get a graduate diploma which will be paid for by the force. So at the end of the day, if you do decide that, yep, after doing the degree itself, you do enjoy it to the point where, yep, I want to stick with this, I do want to become a police officer, you can join, you'll have your degree, and then you'll get an additional graduate diploma. So it makes you more marketable, and then it also makes you, it puts you in a better position to be more qualified for example, later on, if you wanted to leave the police, you still got more options available to you, as opposed to if you restrict yourself to that, something that is just merely focused on policing only. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, right. Have you got any questions?
Not from me.
Not honestly. I was just wondering about the course, and that's it. Like about where we will be doing it due to the fact of the coronavirus or something. Because the safety.
Yep. Completely
I've
valid
got one
question.
question about the course quickly.
Yep.
So obviously we're going to be in year 3 and we're going to be doing the dissertation.
Uh-huh.
How many modules do you pick again? And
Yeah.
In year 3?
Yeah.
First of all, let me answer Travis. So as it stands, because of what we're dealing with at the moment with the pandemic, you know, we're going to be doing blended learning. We're going to be delivering classes, for example, via Zoom, where your lecture slides will be available to you on the screen. We share the screen and we go through all the things we need to go through. And even though it's not face-to-face, you will still be getting all the content that you would get as per se in a lecture theatre. The good thing about that, because everything, as you would know, I'm sure you can appreciate, will have its pros and cons. The good thing about that, you know, we don't need to all be in the same room. You can sit in a bedroom and attend your lecture and get all the information, you know, that you would get in a face-to-face sort of session. And we can still have that sort of contact and feedback via individual sessions for student time, for example. So Travis, if you needed to speak to me on a one-to-one, we can have a one-to-one Zoom meeting. Because I also put aside, well, it's part of the job really, to put aside individual time for students to help you to deal with any questions or queries or any sort of assistance you might need on a program. So there are different options available, but they will all be similar to something like this platform, where we can interact in this sort of way and have lectures presented in exactly the same way as it would be in a face-to-face session. Does that answer your question, Travis?
Yes, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So in terms of the year 3, usually in year 3, you look at, you know, 2 compulsory modules, and then you've got optional modules that you can choose from. Yeah. So obviously the dissertation would be compulsory. Yeah. Before, in the old criminology policing program, we would have the homicide and serious crime investigation. It's a very big module. That would be a compulsory module as well. And then you would have optional modules where you can choose, I believe, 2 from. Yeah, so that's what you'll be doing in the last year. Okay, so with those optional modules, there are various things, you know, integrated learning and work placement. You know, you've got things like cybercrime, violent crime, organized and white collar crime, forensic mental health, gangs and group offending, etc. So you've got these things that you can look at and think, well, okay, I want to do these modules, for example, in my 3rd year. But at Middlesex as well, the good thing about Middlesex is you've got a very wide variety of students in terms of age groups, ethnicities, etc. It's a very diverse university, and in my experience so far, you know, everyone has enjoyed, you know, this program thoroughly because of the relationship we have with the Metropolitan Police, for example, and because of the people who are delivering the program. I mean, another person on the program, well, all the people who deliver policing all have policing backgrounds, who would have served one police force or the other, and will often, be able to share their experiences as practitioners within that role as well, and help to clarify any concerns you might have if you're thinking about having a career in policing. So, you've got that sort of first-hand, person to speak to or to speak with to clarify any sort of questions you might have, because we've done it and we've worked in that field, and we can sort of clarify that for you as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Catherine, in terms of, is there anything else you'd like me to cover for these students?
No, I think you guys have done a good job of asking all the questions I would normally ask. Yeah, I think, do you guys have any other questions about what it's like at Middlesex, maybe for Andre, or what it's like to study the degree?
I've got one question, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
What's the lesson timetable? If we were to go to uni, what would it be, and then
the timetable?
Yeah.
Well, the timetable is built by someone, the director of programs, and that timetable isn't often released until August, late August sort of time, possibly early September.
Yeah.
When you would find out exactly when you've got what. But as I've said, this new way of delivery certainly gives you a level of flexibility that you perhaps may not have had otherwise. So that is the advantage. Some people prefer this style of delivery or this style of learning. Some people don't. That's obviously subjective. But in terms of the timetable itself, you get that later on, closer to the start of the program. That things like numbers, the amount of students who enroll, availability, etc., would impact on how the director of programs would plan the timetable and facilitate the different courses, seminars or seminars or lectures that need to be fitted into that timetable.
I assume we're not just the only two people in year 3 of criminology.
Oh, no. I'm sure they're not the only two, are they, Catherine?
No, I think you guys have just been very keen today to come to the session, which we really appreciate.
Yeah.
No, there's quite a big cohort, especially because you're coming in year 3. You'll be with the people who've been on the course a bit longer. I don't know how, Andre, I don't know if you know this, if the current students have already been transferred over to the new course structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that will happen. It hasn't all happened yet because the course is due to start in October, and there's a process for moving from the old criminology policing degree to this one. So that hasn't all happened yet, but it will happen in due course.
So that'll be exciting as well, because you'll be joining a cohort that also is familiar with Middlesex, so you can kind of get a little bit of an introduction and induction with your fellow classmates. And they'll also be kind of coming onto this new program, so you'll kind of be all inducting as well at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, in terms of the validation of the new program, like Andre mentioned, it's starting in September and October starts. So like I mentioned earlier, we're getting the website and stuff updated, and then you guys will be notified with your new offer of the new program, hopefully in the next few weeks. So we'll obviously keep it open for you guys to make your decision, but if you do have any other questions for Andre on making that decision, please let us know, because we know it's a big decision, but we really do hope you join us, because you both seem very nice, and we hope that you'll want to join us at Middlesex in September.
Definitely.
Yeah, happy.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I'm happy, thank you.
Travis, you look like you want to answer a question.
I'm happy. No, I'm happy with everything, honestly.
You're good? Okay,
Yeah,
what force are you looking to join if you join the police?
So I'd be the Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm from here, I'd be local for that.
Okay. All right.
And hopefully special in something.
Okay, well, this will put you in a good position for that, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's been my main goal for literally since I started the public service course on the college and from West Arts. That has been my main focus to get in the police, and hopefully after probation, whatever, specialise into a category I want to do. Maybe the dogs.
Yeah. Okay. Dogs is very popular. High sort of subscription element of policing. You'd have a significant waiting time, I would imagine, because a lot of people do like dogs. So just bear that in mind. How about you, Alex?
I'm hoping to join the Met, however, because I know obviously you have to live in London, I think, but I know they lifted that restriction recently, I think.
Yeah, they have.
But you never know when you finish the course. It could be, obviously, the government are asking for loads of police officers.
Yeah. We're calling it the Boris boost. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. After he's got rid of loads of police officers, and now he wants to replace them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully the Met, but I'd go to the Hertfordshire if I can get into the Met. But then if I get into the Met, then I kind of want to go into like terrorism or NCA and like drugs and kind of all that.
Well, that's perfect. So this degree allows for that sort of flexibility.
Yeah.
So, you know, something like policing and investigations. So that's the key word there, policing and investigations. It gives you that kind of investigative knowledge from a broader sort of sense. So certainly something like the NCA, you know, it will be applicable to that as well. So that's something for you to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Perfect.
Well, good stuff.
Also, I've got one more thing to say. Do you think it's worth joining as a special constable while undertaking the course?
Being a special is always helpful for a number of reasons.
Yeah. Just to get the field.
It helps you. I would always recommend, if policing is something you want to get into, being a special will always be a positive step in the right direction. Definitely. So my answer will be yes.
Because I did a couple of ride-alongs. I've done Hertfordshire Met Police and the Bedford one, Luton. And like after that, I was talking to a couple of officers saying, I don't know, maybe this year I'll become a special or something, and it'll be worth it just to get the feel of the job.
Yep.
Just a second opinion.
Yep. It would, and it would help you with your course as well. So on the program, having that sort of practical knowledge and understanding will help inform, you know, how you approach some of your submissions. So it will enable you to you know, blend that sort of theoretical learning that you would engage in as a student, and sort of mix that with your practical knowledge and produce high quality submissions. So yeah, certainly it will be helpful.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'll look into that.
I've got one more question. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned that you were in the Met. What did you do in the Met? Like, sorry, kind of like what was like your special? Like, what did you specialize in?
Quite a few different things. So I was an undercover operative for a number of years. Was also a detective. I also worked in uniform. I worked in different boroughs. I did strategic work, managing projects. So I did a number of things. So violent crime, you know, domestic violence, project management work, various things, undercover work, you know, drugs, gangs, you know, different things for a number of years. And I worked in a number of boroughs. So I would work in Newham, Southwark. I also worked in Enfield. I also worked in West Brompton. And within doing all of that, I would have done a number of different things. Very, very experienced in a variety of ways, really. I can tell you stories from now until you go to sleep tonight and still continue talking tomorrow. So it's quite a lot of experience there.
And you did like you enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yeah, policing is an awesome job in the sense that you can do a number of jobs within one parasol. So if you were tired of working with dogs, Travis, for example, you could say, well, you know, I want to work with horses, or I want to become a firearms officer, or I want to do, you know, I want to become a hostage negotiator or whatever. So you don't need to leave the police to do that. You can just change your job within the same job. So there's that. I mean, for me, it's just a personal preference. My real specialism lies within diversity and inclusion within policing, and having done a doctorate and done those studying at that level and having started to write, you know, I just became really impassioned by authorship and you know, championing a certain aspect of policing. And academia is the perfect platform to do that. So that's just a personal choice for me. But policing itself, you know, yeah, it's a pretty awesome job. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for coming in, and I hope this little talk has been helpful. And if
Yeah,
you have
thank
any
you.
further questions, please feel free to contact myself or Catherine. And you know, I look forward to seeing you guys in October.